Welcome to This Explainer. Grab your gear because today we are stepping straight into the boots of a wildlife biologist. We're heading out on a field expedition to uncover how evolution creates some absolutely extreme physical performance in the animal kingdom. We're going to crack open the old field notebook and get up close and personal with some of the most staggering biological feats of speed, power, and precision on Earth. Okay, here's our roadmap. We've got evolution's extreme athletes, the peregrine's cupped wings, the mantis shrimp's jackhammer, the mole's tactile eye, a quick field quiz on biological feats, and finally, nature's blueprint for us. Now, to truly appreciate what these animals pull off, we've got to look through the lens of biomechanics. This is essentially how we translate complex, fleshy biological movements into the hard laws of physics. We aren't just gawking at what these animals do, we're breaking down exactly how their specific anatomical features engineer these seemingly impossible physical realities. It's like reverse engineering nature's ultimate sports cars. All right, Section 1, the peregrine's cupped wings. So think about observing a falcon nosediving at top speed to ambush its prey. We're talking well over 320 kilometers per hour here. The obvious question is, how on earth do their bodies withstand and actually manipulate that kind of extreme high-speed airflow? I mean, most objects would literally be torn apart or completely lose the ability to maneuver at those speeds, right? But the falcon, it absolutely thrives in it. Now, check out this computational fluid dynamics, or CFD, data from a dam wall dive study. Just look at the shift in these numbers. By changing their geometry from an open wing configuration to tucking tight into this cupped wing shape, they do something completely counterintuitive. They actually increase their lift coefficient from 0.0851 to 0.1119, while at the same time drastically decreasing their drag. That is wild. It just shows you how incredibly fine-tuned the bird's body forces really are. So how do they actually pull this off? Well, this brilliant morphing strategy basically acts like a tapering nozzle. As air passes through the gap between that cupped wingtip and the bird's body, it speeds up. This fast-moving air then literally hugs the falcon's body tightly, which smooths out all that chaotic, turbulent air behind it. By cutting down that overall aerodynamic form drag and shifting those wake vortices closer together, the falcon keeps total rapid maneuverability without getting blown completely off course. And during that specific dam wall dive study, researchers mapped the falcon's transient equilibrium dive speed at exactly 22.5 meters per second. At that exact speed, their cupped wing morphology is performing at absolute peak equilibrium. Honestly, it's nothing short of living, breathing aerospace engineering. Moving on to Section 2, the mantis shrimp's jackhammer. Plunging into the ocean, the crucial thing to know about our next extreme athlete is this absolutely staggering number, 1,500. That's the peak force, measured in newtons, generated by just a single strike from the mantis shrimp's hammer-like appendage. To put that into perspective for a second, that force is over 2,500 times the animal's own body weight. It's literally like a human throwing a punch with the force of a speeding freight train. Just mind-blowing. Now, basic biology tells us that regular muscle contractions alone simply cannot achieve speeds of 23 meters per second underwater. The water resistance is just way too high. So evolution equipped these guys with LAMSA. This is an intense biological spring and latch mechanism that uses a 4-bar linkage built right into their exoskeleton. Basically, the shrimp slowly loads elastic energy into these biological springs, locks it in place with a latch, and then, bam, releases it all at once. This mechanism perfectly illustrates their signature jackhammer technique, because it's not just one simple punch. The limbs move so incredibly fast that the water around the appendage literally boils and vaporizes, creating this highly destructive phenomenon called cavitation. And when those vapor bubbles collapse, they cause a massive little implosion. So what looks like a single strike is actually a devastating 4-part physical and implosive combo. You get the first impact, a bubble collapse, a second impact, and a second bubble collapse. But the timeline here is what really cements this as a biological extreme. All 4 of those destructive force peaks happen in under 800 microseconds. We're talking a fraction of a millisecond. When those cavitation bubbles implode, the forces are so extreme, they actually generate tiny, brief flashes of heat, light, and sound. It is literally an underwater shockwave weapon, custom-built to crack heavily armored prey. All right, Section 3, the mole's tactile eye. Journeying away from the ocean and into the pitch-black mud of the wetlands, we find this tiny, hamster-sized creature. It lives its entire life in darkness and is functionally blind, but It has a 1 centimeter star-shaped nose, packed with 25,000 microscopic sensory receptors called Eimer's organs. Thanks to this incredibly dense neural network, that tiny little nose is roughly 6 times more sensitive than a human hand. What's truly fascinating to me as a biologist is that the mole explores its world mechanically, almost exactly the way our eyes explore a room visually. The mole has 22 fleshy appendages on its nose, but that 11th pair, that acts as a super high-resolution touch center, or a tactile fovea. Just like our eyes use quick, darting, saccadic movements to scan a scene and focus on details, the mole sweeps its outer nose rays to detect objects and then instantly shifts to that 11th pair to investigate potential food with really concentrated, high-resolution physical touches. Now, to survive on tiny, low-calorie prey like small worms, their brain has to be massively wired for pure speed. Get this, over 52% of the touch center in their brain, the somatosensory cortex, is devoted entirely to processing input from that nose. It takes them a mere 8 milliseconds to decide if an item is edible. 8 milliseconds. They can process up to 15 separate touches per second, making their foraging incredibly profitable. They extract calories faster than almost any other creature on Earth. But they aren't just fast, they flat out bend the rules of mammalian biology. You see, mammals aren't supposed to be able to smell completely underwater, but the star-nosed mole, it absolutely can. It rapidly exhales 8 to 12 microscopic air bubbles every single second onto objects or scent trails underwater. And then, this is the crazy part, it re-inhales those exact same bubbles, pulling the odor molecules right across its olfactory receptors. It is a breathtaking adaptation. Time for Section 4, Field Quiz on Biological Feats. All right, let's put your field knowledge to the test. Based on the handling times and the intense sensory brain wiring we just analyzed, which of these extreme animals do you think holds the Guinness World Record for fastest mammalian forager? Take a quick second to lock in your answer. Yep, you guessed it, it's the star-nosed mole. Earning its rightful spot in the Guinness Book of World Records, this little guy averages a mere 227 milliseconds to find, identify, and fully consume its prey. It just proves that mastering the biomechanics of microscopic touch and neural processing can literally outpace almost anything else in nature. And finally, Section 5, Nature's Blueprint for Us. You see, these aren't just fun little nature facts to share at parties. They are literal blueprints. Researchers right now are studying the star-nosed mole's rapid, hyper-focused touch processing to better understand exactly how our brains interpret feeling. This could directly lead to the development of new types of highly sensitive neural prostheses for humans. And meanwhile, studying the peregrine falcon's cupped wings is already helping us engineer better aerodynamics to maintain maneuverability at extreme high speeds in modern aviation. As we continue our field studies into the biomechanics of the natural world, the applications really do seem endless. From the pitch-black ocean floor to the open skies, nature has spent millions of years running the ultimate, relentless research and development lab. So I'll leave you with this to chew on. What everyday human technology will be revolutionized next just by mimicking and unlocking the secrets of an animal's extreme biology? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, keep exploring out there.